I'm a visionary, revitalizing the past to inspire the future, breaking the constraints of perception, to power dynamic forms of expression. I am realizing artistic visions, inventing unique variations, and reimagining legendary works as timeless as their creator. I am constantly evolving, bringing characters to life.
I, who am master of the universe,
Finding freedom in exploration and poetry in movement. I am always pushing the limits, accelerating excellence, and envisioning a better future for everyone. I am AI, brought to life by NVIDIA and brilliant creators everywhere.
Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Jason Paul, and my team here at NVIDIA works on new technologies to help creators design amazing art. Today, I'd like to talk to you about one of these new technologies, artificial intelligence, and how you can put it to use to create better art faster than ever. When I sit down and talk to creators, one of the things I hear over and over is how the volume of content they need to produce keeps growing and growing. Whether it's keeping up with subscribers on YouTube or tighter deadlines from clients, creators are having to pump out more content while still trying to maintain that quality and craftsmanship. The proof here is really in the numbers. There are over 500 hours of video uploaded every minute to over 31 million YouTube channels, and over 100 million images and videos uploaded every day to Instagram. Keeping up with this pace requires new tools and technology to help artists create content faster and better than ever. One key technology that can help you create content faster is AI, and it's getting used in many places, from self-driving cars to Google search recommendations to household smart devices. There are now AI features in many of the top creative applications as well, including Adobe Premiere Pro, Dimension, Lightroom, Substance Alchemist, and Photoshop. Today we're going to talk about what the AI in these apps means for creators and how you can best put these state-of-the-art tools to use for you. Artificial intelligence works very differently from traditional computer algorithms. Instead of programming a software application step by step to perform a precise action, AI learns from thousands or even millions of examples. These examples could be things like photos or videos. But by studying them, AI can make very accurate predictions on what action to take when it sees a new sample. Let's take a very simple example from HBO's Silicon Valley, Hot Dog or Not. This is an AI for classifying images and trains on thousands of pictures of different hot dogs. And then it can make an accurate assessment when it sees a new hot dog that may have a slightly different shape or size. The AI could even identify features like condiments or bun type or whether it's a foot long. The example here, while basic and fun, illustrates the process of repetition and association through which AI learns. As AI keeps training on new examples, it continues learning, so your software continues to improve over time. And because it's computer code, it can execute specific tasks thousands of times faster than you or I could. But there are some important limitations of AI. Since it is trained with examples, it only knows how to perform a task that's represented by its training. AI can't really imagine new things beyond its dataset, something that artists are really great at. The tasks that AI can do well are ones that tend to be tedious or even repetitive for people. By letting the machine take this on, artists are then freed up to do what they do best, imagining and creating the unknown. So let's dive into some examples of how AI is helping creators. The latest release of Photoshop is one that we're really excited about and includes some new photo filters, including a smart portrait feature, which is based on AI research developed here at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's Sean Kilbride is going to show you what it can do.
Hi, today I want to show a brief demonstration highlighting some of the new AI features in Adobe Photoshop featuring GPU accelerated performance on NVIDIA GPUs. The new Neural Filters option in Photoshop offers 8 new AI-based filters that allow artificial intelligence to supercharge your workflow. While I don't have time to cover all of these filters, let's take a look at 2 in particular: Skin Smoothing and Smart Portrait. One of the many ways that artists use Photoshop, and one that is personally a big use case for me, is retouching portrait photographs. I spend a good amount of my post-processing time just correcting minor skin imperfections in my portrait images. I've also spent a lot of money on plugins which attempt to speed up this process. I'm going to show you how a new Photoshop AI feature called Skin Smoothing dramatically speeds up this process. We can see that my subject here has minor skin imperfections that we'd like to clean up for our final image. One common way to clean up these imperfections would be to use the spot healing brush on the blemished areas. However, if you're like me, you've probably found that this method usually creates a different type of imperfection while attempting to fix the original blemish. And even when it works perfectly, it's a time-consuming process. Let's try using the new AI Skin Smoothing tool. First, we'll open the Filter menu and select the Neural Filters option. This will open the Neural Filters panel, where we can enable skin smoothing. Skin smoothing takes advantage of GPU acceleration to quickly remove the skin imperfections. This smart AI tool easily identifies and removes spots and blemishes while maintaining the integrity of the overall skin texture, which is critical for realistic final images, and avoiding that over-processed look that's a telltale sign of retouching. We can click the Preview Changes button to quickly show the image before and after applying skin smoothing. GPU accelerated AI skin smoothing is a super fast way to create great, natural-looking skin in your portraits. Now let's take a look at a new beta feature in Photoshop, Smart Portrait. Located within the Beta Features tab of the Photoshop Neurals Filter panel, AI-powered Smart Portrait allows you to perform photo editing feats in Photoshop that sound like science fiction. First, we'll enable Smart Portrait. Smart Portrait uses NVIDIA's StyleGAN, a style-based generator architectural for generative adversarial networks, which allows Photoshop to modify information in an image, even if that information doesn't exist within the original image. Let's take a look. The first time we apply any change to the image data is sent to the Adobe Sensei AI Cloud, which creates a digital blueprint and a unique image fingerprint of the image. With the image blueprint data in hand, I'm going to show you how we can take a stock photo and create a completely unique looking image. The first thing I'll do is change the position of the subject's head so they are looking slightly out of frame. Now I'm going to adjust the gaze so that our subject is looking back at us. Now this is really neat. Let's lower the facial age, and we get a younger looking version of our subject. I'll adjust the hair thickness slider to give them a different hairstyle. Now, I can use the light direction slider and experiment with how changing the light direction affects my image. Finally, I can create an older looking version of my subject by increasing the facial age slider value. Now, we'll readjust our lighting for our final look. Then I'll apply the changes. Because the effect applies the changes to a new layer, I can easily clean up any artifacts that might have been created by Smart Portrait. NVIDIA GPUs combined with Photoshop AI features like skin smoothing and Smart Portrait offer an amazing new way for artists to edit their portraits in ways they never imagined possible.
Smart Portrait is in the list of beta filters available now in the latest version of Photoshop. Maintaining visual continuity across hundreds of thousands of frames in a video project can be a time-consuming task. That's where the AI features in Premiere Pro can really help. NVIDIA's Sabor Amirazodi will show you how it works.
Hey everyone, My name is Sabor Mirzoni, and I'm a creative who has about 16 years of multi-platform experience in the field of visual effects, motion graphics, editing, pretty much all things production. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how today's platforms and mobile devices have changed the way that we really view and create content. And as creators, we have to generate a lot of these content to display in so many different formats and different platforms, and creating all those different versions can start to take a long time by hand. So Adobe and NVIDIA have worked very closely together to create and optimize a lot of these incredible tools like Premiere Pro's auto reframe and scene edit detection that leverage Adobe's Sensei AI to help creators kind of edit quicker and deliver the content to multiple different platforms by dynamically adjusting aspect ratios such as square, vertical, 16:9, a bunch of different platforms, a bunch of different formats. So with that said, let's dive in and show you how some of these awesome tools actually work and some examples of what to expect and some tips on saving yourself a bunch of time. So now let's open a previous project that was edited for our robotics lab and make any final touches. All this footage was shot on a Red camera at 6K, and I'm going to edit at that resolution. Now keep in mind, high resolution needs some serious hardware, like the RTX GPUs that I'm working on, and that hardware becomes even more important when we start to layer in effects and try to play back, color correction, multi-track, all that good stuff. So let me show you the pain I went through before I knew about GPUs. Now you could see when I try to play this clip, I have a bunch of drop frames, and that's because the CPU is trying to do all the work. And I have a pretty beefy CPU that I'm working on right now, and it still can't keep up. So let's fix that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna click on File, and then we're gonna go to Project Settings, and then we're gonna go to General. And then we're gonna make sure that we turn on our GPU accelerated engine and press OK. And you're gonna instantly see that now, when I press play, everything plays back smooth. I can scrub the timelines, press play, and everything works. And the next thing I want to do is take advantage of some of the new GPU accelerated encoding and decoding features by selecting on Edit, and then going to Preferences, and then going to Media. Once that pops up, you're going to want to make sure that Enable Hardware Accelerated Encoding and Decoding is enabled. In my case, it's already enabled, so we're good to go. So now you can see that we're getting real-time playback with no drop frames. Awesome. So now back to our edit. After we finish, we need to make versions for various platforms. And previously, this would take a ton of time positioning our subjects. And I can show you kind of in this little manual timeline. I would have to go to motion. I'd have to add a position keyframe, scrub through a little bit further, and then we'd have to adjust, add a new keyframe. This is painful, but that's exactly when AI tools come into play. One of these tools, if you might have guessed, is auto reframe, which auto detects where action of the shot is happening, which is great for all the different platforms that we're trying to export for. So let me show you how to run it. We're gonna right click on our timeline, and then we're gonna click on auto reframe sequence. And then a dialog box is going to pop up, and we get to choose a couple different options. Our target aspect ratio, we want it to be vertical, 9:16. And we can kind of keep all the other things as default for now. And then when you click on Create, we will see a new auto reframed folder with our auto reframe sequence containing our new sequence. If we double click on that, that will have our actual sequence, which has everything reframed just like we wanted. So let's check out the results, scrub through. All right, it's pretty sweet. I like it, and it's working. And if there's ever any tweaks that we want to do, we can always click on one of these clips. And let's say, for example, we wanted to nudge them over just a little bit. We can click on Overwrite Generated Path. And what that does is brings back the generated keyframes. And at that point, we can maybe position him a little bit further to the right, and then you can see as we're scrubbing through, we can make our little fine-tuned adjustments. And if we wanted to, we can delete all the keyframes, start from scratch, or just generate it from scratch. But this did a pretty good job, so I'm going to leave it. So once we feel like our refinements are done, it's time to export our final sequence. All we do is right-click on our final sequence right here, and then go to Export Media. And that's going to bring up the Media Encoder window, which has all our export settings. What we're going to want to check is Import into Project, and I'm going to do that so I can show you how to re-edit using some scene edit detection AI tools at the end. And we also want to make sure that our hardware encoding is selected. Now, this is another awesome new feature that flexes the power of our NVIDIA GPUs by taking advantage of the new NV encoder, which by comparison, you can see is much faster than the previous CPU encoding. And I'm just showing you kind of a side-by-side comparison between one of the older projects that I had rendered out. So now that the clip has been exported, we can see that it got imported back into our project file. And I'm going to show you one of the scenarios that I run into all the time. And it's when you get a change or you need to shorten a clip, but it's from a sequence that's already been completed and archived, and all you have is the final export. And I'll illustrate this point by deleting everything else in our project file. And then now I only have our final export. We can see when we press play, it's nice and framed, everything's nice. Auto reframe did its job, but it's a final export. But we need to make it shorter. So previously what I would do is I would drag this in to make a new sequence out of this clip, and then I'd have to painstakingly go through and find my cut points. And I'd have to use my cut tool, I'd zoom in, frame by frame, find our cut points, blade it, and then go to the next clip. Yeah, this is boring, this sucks. I don't enjoy this, so how do we make this faster? How do we leverage AI to make this less painful? So this is how we do it. So we right click on our clip and go to Scene Edit Detection, and then say, go ahead and leave everything where it is and click on Analyze. And it's gonna go ahead and analyze the clip, which is pretty quick. This is all doing it real time. I'm not speeding this up at all. And what it's gonna do is it's going to go through the entire clip and do all the work for us. Look at that. So now I can, I don't know, maybe take this clip right here, delete that, right? And then maybe take this clip right here, delete that, shorten our sequence, and we're done. We have a shorter sequence. We didn't have to go back to our original edit. And it's with these awesome AI tools that make our lives so much easier as artists. With the close collaboration that Adobe and NVIDIA have, I'm really excited for all the features taking advantage of Adobe Sensei AI and the raw power of NVIDIA GPUs. It's these advancements that really get me excited for the future in this creative world.
Auto reframe and scene edit detection are in Premiere Pro and available now from the Creative Cloud. An increasing amount of creative work is being done in 3D, from movies to even graphic design. That's because 3D environments can look incredibly realistic and replace the need for physical props and sets. One of the reasons this is possible is due to physically based 3D materials, such as those created by Adobe Substance applications. And Substance Alchemist uses AI to make this process so much easier. One of NVIDIA's artists, Ashley Martino-Tar, is going to show us how.
Modern-day architectural visualizations, movies, and video games look so believable because of the amount of detail used to create those designs and virtual worlds. A lot of that detail comes from how realistic the textures and materials look. These 3D materials are created by texture artists using tools like Substance Alchemist. Let's start with this photo of bricks that I snapped while I was out walking my dog. I just drag and drop it into Alchemist and convert it to a material. Now I can choose the original algorithm, B2M, or the new AI option. Though the source images are the same, the results of B2M versus AI look quite different. B2M is a blanket tool that applies the same set of rules to every image. The AI version is able to understand shapes and patterns and identify objects in an image. Let's add more life into this brick by adding some water and additional materials like gravel and grass. First, you can see how the water automatically follows the shapes of the bricks because the height map info can guide the water to pull at the lowest points of the material. When we add gravel and grass to the material, they distribute evenly and fall into the grooves. In contrast, the B2M material looks patchy, and it starts to fall apart as more materials are added. I've gone ahead and added a few more layers to create a truly unique material. With the help of the RTX Accelerated Image-to-Material AI function, I was able to produce a library of unique and beautiful materials. I can now export these materials and use them in other applications to bring my 3D ideas to life. Materials are an essential part of making believable 3D environments, and with NVIDIA RTX powering complex material creation techniques, we were able to tell more impactful stories.
Alchemist and its AI material creation capabilities are available from the Substance client. In addition to many great Adobe apps, NVIDIA is also building tools that use AI to help creators work more effectively. NVIDIA Broadcast is a new app that allows live streamers and creators to turn any room into a home studio with AI-powered capabilities. NVIDIA's Brandon Ewing will walk us through it.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon and I'm very excited today to talk to you about our NVIDIA Broadcast App. Like many of you, I've been home a lot more lately. I've been video conferencing all day and then gaming and streaming all night, and I have a very basic webcam and microphone setup. NVIDIA Broadcast makes these things supercharged with a lot of new awesome features that really bring it out using the power of AI and RTX GPUs. The first one I want to talk about is noise removal. So I've asked my girlfriend to join me with a blow dryer here. And that distracting sound makes it very hard to understand what I'm saying. But when I turn on noise removal in NVIDIA Broadcast, you find that it's completely gone. And that blow dryer is still going. But NVIDIA Broadcast isn't just awesome audio features. There's some really exciting video features as well. Let's take a look. First up, we have the ability to blur your background, which you may notice that I need because I have a very cluttered and messy room. But when I turn this background blur feature on, all of a sudden I get this really classy effect. And I can adjust the strength of that from low to high and everything in between. Or, if I want, I can actually replace the background altogether. Now I'm in a space station with the magic of AI. It's that easy. Or, if I want to jump into some gameplay, I can remove the background altogether and jump into some Valorant. And now I'm playing with a green screen effect without actually having to have one at home. I don't have to play good, but at least I can look good. Now sometimes when I'm video conferencing or doing a just chatting stream, I want to zoom in to get a more personal connection with the audience. But the problem is I bounce around so much, it's easy for my head to get out of frame. With the auto frame feature, it's like having your own personal cameraman that follows you wherever you go. So if, for example, I wanted to reach over and grab my cool Valorant hat and show it to everybody, it follows me every step of the way. I just find NVIDIA Broadcast to be really exciting, as both a streamer and as someone who works from home. The ability to remove distracting noise, improve your background, and keep yourself in the center of the frame are all awesome features in one app, and I just can't wait for you guys to try it.
NVIDIA Broadcast is free to download from NVIDIA.com for anyone with a GeForce or Quadro RTX GPU. AI is a powerful tool, but also one that can place a heavy load on your PC. So NVIDIA and our partners have built an AI-ready computing platform called NVIDIA Studio to help creators work faster and more efficiently. Studio consists of our NVIDIA RTX GPUs that feature hardware for accelerating AI as well as ray tracing and video processing, Studio drivers that get tested across all of the top creative apps, SDKs that software developers such as Adobe can use to integrate GPU acceleration into their creative apps, and NVIDIA Studio badged products. These are laptops and desktops from top OEMs such as Dell, HP, and others, specifically designed for the highest performance and best compatibility in creative workflows. With Studio, NVIDIA is working across the entire ecosystem to deliver purpose-built technology just for you, so you can focus on doing your best work. From photography to video to 3D to graphic design, AI features are available now in top Adobe creative apps that will save you time and help to inspire new ideas. And this is really just the beginning for AI. Thank you for joining our session today. We hope you learned a few ideas for how to take advantage of AI on your next project.